Man, right when we thought that the year was over and all the stocks were finally going to start going back up, all we got was more downtrend. And the same can be said for Cleanspark. Cleanspark a couple months ago was $20 a share, and where does it find itself? Right at $8. And we haven't been at $8 since November of last year. So in this video, I'm going to give my honest opinion about Cleanspark, whether or not I still think it's a buy, and my personal opinion on where they are going to be in the next year. So on December 14th, Cleanspark released their Q4 earnings report. And before we dive into the numbers, I just want to say that the results were just sloppy. Nobody really knew what the Q4 results were when they were listening to the conference call or even looking at their press release, because all they really talked about was the year-over-year numbers. Now don't get me wrong, when looking at their year-over-year revenue growth, it was outstanding. But I think a lot of people wanted to see how the Q4 revenues were matching up with the overall hash rate, and that took a lot of work for people to figure it out. So when it comes to the overall earnings reports and conference calls, they need to do a way better job at communicating the information clearly to people. But nonetheless, looking at their quarter's revenue, Cleanspark reported $27 million, which is great when looking at it from a holistic perspective because they ended up beating estimates by 16%. And they ended up growing revenues 5x year over year, where their expenses only grew 3x. So it appears that Cleanspark had a great year. And to be fair, they have done so much over the past year because of their switch to Bitcoin mining. But one thing that I noticed over this earnings report is not only were the numbers hard to read, but it was even difficult to come up with the true revenue numbers for each segment. So I want to make these quarterly numbers plain to you so then that way we can really digest and see whether or not this is a stock that we should still be in. As I said previously, the company had $27 million in revenue, and a little over $4 million was actually from their energy hardware, software, and services. Now I know that there's going to be a lot of people upset with this number, but let me put it this way. This is the most energy revenue that the company has had ever in one quarter. We can see that they're still extremely active when it comes to their energy business. Now onto their EPS. The company had a net loss of $5,367,391. And they currently, as of December 14th, have 41,447,776 shares outstanding. So the company actually had an EPS of about negative 0.13. But if any of you guys want to run my numbers to make sure that I'm correct, please do so. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. So going into 2022, Cleanspark has commitments of $203.6 million in purchases for miners, which is a lot, but the company actually already has $144 million already paid off. So as of December 14th, they had about $49 million to go. Now, some people are afraid that if Bitcoin goes down any further, it's going to be extremely difficult to actually buy the rest of these miners because of the fact that they're switching over to using Bitcoin to buy their miners. And I only see this as an issue if you truly believe that Bitcoin is going to be below $30,000. So overall, I thought the conference call was mediocre. But with all that said, I want to share my thoughts as well as show what I'm planning on doing going into 2022. The first thing that has caught my eye is the fact that they're changing their website. You will notice that Cleanspark now calls themselves a clean Bitcoin mining company. They used to be known as an energy company. So this is something that I will be keeping my eye on. Now, based on the fact, as I said before, that Cleanspark ended up having the highest amount of energy revenue in a quarter, I'm not worried that they will let go of their energy business. But it is something to pay attention to in 2022. At some point, the company is going to need to be able to talk about what is going on the energy side of their business. And hopefully they'll do so over the next couple of months. I will also be paying close attention to revenues of Q1 of 2022 and Q2 of 2022 to make sure that their energy revenue continues to expand. Now, the reason why I think that this is so important is the simple fact that a lot of investors were in this company because of their microgrids. And if they shifted over to only Bitcoin mining, this would be a huge red flag for these investors. I believe that both sides of the business is what makes Cleanspark different from these other Bitcoin mining companies. So they need to be working on both sides of the business because they cannot keep up with Marathon, Riot, and all the other Bitcoin mining companies. Now, I believe that they shifted their title because most of their revenue was coming from their Bitcoin mining segment. But after announcing on November 30th that they're changing their brand identity, it still sounds like that they're going to be focused on both businesses. The second thing that caught my eye is the hiring of the new CFO. Now, I don't see anything wrong with the new CFO in particular, but it was the transition that seemed kind of hidden. This to me is a minor thing right now until we actually see the evidence of the CFO working in this company. I truly don't think the CFO plays a major role when it comes to the overall expansion of the business, but I do see significant changes that could be made within their earnings calls and their earnings reports over the next few quarters. The final thing is that I've seen so many people frustrated with the fact that we didn't hit 2 exahash by the beginning of this year. Personally, I don't think it's that big of an issue. I mean, think about how fast they ramped up to even get close to 2 exahash. And even though they didn't get it done in the short term, I think that the things that they're putting into place right now, like the immersion cooling, will play a bigger and better role in the long term. Now, if they fail to hit 3 exahash by the end of June going into July, then I would be concerned more so with the company's execution. So with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about share price. Now, this stock has been beaten down after going up to almost $20 in November, but now we're back below $10. So here's what I'm planning on doing. Personally, I'm only grabbing a few shares here or there because I already have a huge position and there are some uncertainties when it comes to Cleanspark's overall business. I still believe that this is a great stock to own, especially at this price, but I need the company over the next year to prove that they can achieve profitability. And if they don't show signs of that over the next couple of quarters, then I'm going to need to reevaluate my position. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you don't mind, would you consider destroying that like button? That helps this channel immensely, as well as comment down below your thoughts on Cleanspark's current share price and their past earnings report. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below. That way you are notified when new content comes out. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your week, and we'll see you in the next one.